That little one-dime coin in your pocket could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Some Roosevelt dimes from 1968, 1982, and 1996 have rare mint errors that make them super valuable. Check your coins now, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the next rare coin reveal. The 1965 United States one-dime coin may appear like just another small piece of change, but for collectors, this particular year tells one of the most fascinating stories in modern U.S. coin history. What makes it so special is not just the design or the year, it's the transition it represents and the remarkable minting errors that came with it. These rare mistakes have transformed a 10-cent coin into a treasure worth thousands, with some examples selling for as much as $66,000 to an unbelievable $156,000. It's a perfect reminder that even the tiniest coin can carry a story of change, history, and hidden fortune. To understand why the 1965 dime holds such significance, we have to go back to the turbulent times of the mid-1960s. Before that year, dimes, quarters, and half-dollars were made of 90% silver. But due to the rising price of silver and a national coin shortage, the U.S. Mint decided to make a major change. Beginning in 1965, the dime was produced using a new copper-nickel-clad composition. No longer silver but layered metal over a copper core. This shift was monumental, and like any major transition, it came with its fair share of hiccups. The result was the creation of some of the most valuable and fascinating error coins in circulation today. Among the most famous of these mistakes are the 1965 dimes that were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964. When the mint changed its composition, not all of the old silver planchets were properly removed from the production machinery. A few were inadvertently used to strike 1965 dated dimes. To the untrained eye, these coins look similar to the regular copper-nickel versions, but experts can spot the difference immediately. Silver dimes are slightly heavier, at 2.5 grams compared to the 2.27 grams of their clad counterparts. Their color and ring are also distinct. When dropped on a hard surface, the silver dimes make a high-pitched ringing sound, while clad coins produce a duller tone. The discovery of silver 1,965 dimes sent shockwaves through the collecting community. At first, people thought they were fake or altered, but after professional verification, it was confirmed that genuine examples existed. One of these rare 1965 silver dimes, graded MS-66 by PCGS, sold for a jaw-dropping $156,000 at auction. The fact that it survived in such pristine condition made it a once-in-a-lifetime find. Another example, slightly circulated but still in remarkable shape, sold for $89,000 through Stack's Bowers. These numbers show just how extraordinary these coins are, hidden treasures that slipped through the cracks of history. But the 1965 dime story doesn't end with silver planchets. There were other remarkable errors that emerged that year as well. Off-center strikes, double die obverse, and missing clad layer errors have all been documented and highly prized by collectors. One particularly stunning off-center 1965 dime, with about 40% of the design missing yet retaining a fully visible date, sold for over $68,000. Another coin exhibiting a dramatic double die on the word Liberty was authenticated by NGC and fetched nearly $75,000 at auction. The missing clad layer error is another fascinating variety from 1965. Because of the newly adopted copper-nickel structure, some coins were struck before the outer layer adhered properly to the copper core. The result was a two-toned coin, one side showing the silvery nickel color, the other exposing the reddish copper beneath. These coins are instantly recognizable and highly desirable for their visual uniqueness. A 1965 dime missing almost its entire clad layer on the reverse sold for $66,000. Highlighting how even a production flaw could turn a coin into a masterpiece of rarity. Another interesting type of error involved the use of foreign planchets. During that era, the U.S. Mint also produced coins for other countries. Occasionally, blanks meant for foreign coins got mixed into U.S. production runs. A few 1965 dimes were found struck on smaller, lighter foreign planchets, giving them unusual weights and metallic appearances. One such coin, struck on a planchet intended for a 10-cent piece from another nation, was discovered decades later and authenticated. It went on to sell for nearly $120,000, An incredible sum for something that began as an unnoticed mistake in a massive minting facility. These errors became even more important because of another decision made by the mint in 1965. No mint marks were used on any coins that year. This was done to discourage hoarding during the coin shortage, but it also made 1965 coins somewhat mysterious. You can't tell whether they were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, which only adds to their intrigue. For error collectors, this uniformity makes the rare mistakes stand out even more. The appeal of the 1965 dime lies not just in its errors but also in what it represents. It marked the end of the silver era in American coinage and the beginning of a new age of clad coin production. For many collectors, owning a 1965 silver dime or a major error piece is like holding a small piece of American economic history. It captures the tension and transition of the time, a story of change that unfolded in the nation's pocket change. Over the decades, these rare dimes have surfaced in the most unexpected places. One of the most talked about discoveries happened in 1999, when a coin roll hunter in Florida found what appeared to be a normal 1965 dime in a bag of old coins. Upon weighing it, he noticed it was slightly heavier than usual. After submitting it for grading, it turned out to be one of the elusive silver planchet errors. That coin was later sold through heritage auctions for $134,000, making national headlines. Stories like these fuel the fascination of collectors everywhere, showing that incredible finds can still be hiding in plain sight. Another example came to light when a family cleaning out their grandfather's coin collection found a 1965 dime that looked slightly shinier than the others. It was tucked away in a small envelope marked "Special." After professional testing confirmed it was indeed a silver error dime. The coin sold privately for $105,000. The family had no idea that a small coin, untouched for decades, could carry such immense value. What makes these coins even more thrilling is the possibility that more may still exist. The number of known silver 1965 dimes is small, and while a few dozen have been verified, experts believe some remain undiscovered in collections or circulation. Every so often, a new example surfaces, reigniting excitement and driving fresh interest in the series. For serious collectors, the key to spotting one of these valuable coins lies in careful examination. Weighing the coin, testing its sound, and inspecting its edge for color differences are essential steps. A silver 1965 dime will have a solid silver-colored edge, while regular clad dimes reveal a visible copper stripe. Even a small difference could mean the difference between 10 cents and a fortune worth thousands. What's so remarkable about the 1965 dime is that it's a perfect intersection of history, accident, and opportunity. It reflects a time when the mint was evolving, errors were overlooked, and coins still carried tangible connections to the nation's precious metal past. Every error coin from that year, whether it's an off-center strike, a missing clad layer, or the fabled silver planchet dime, tells a story of human imperfection meeting industrial precision. Collectors around the world continue to hunt for these elusive treasures, scouring rolls, jars, and old collections in search of the next big discovery. Some find success, while others chase the dream, but the allure never fades. Because the 1965 dime reminds us all that sometimes value hides in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. And if you're lucky enough to find one of these rare minting miracles, you could be holding a piece of American history worth anywhere from $66,000 to $156,000, all packed into the size of a simple 10-cent coin. The 1976 US one-dime coin is one of those hidden gems in the world of numismatics that continues to fascinate collectors and historians alike. At first glance, it looks just like any other Roosevelt dime, small, silver-colored, and often overlooked as simple pocket change. Yet behind that ordinary appearance, a few remarkable error coins exist from this very year that have changed hands for jaw-dropping sums at auctions, ranging anywhere from $52,000 to $142,000. These coins prove that even something as common as a dime can become a piece of rare treasure when the minting process takes an unexpected turn. The year 1976 was already special in American coinage history because it marked the celebration of the United States bicentennial. Collectors were focused on the special quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins featuring the dual 1776 to 1976 date and unique reverse designs. However, while all eyes were on those commemorative coins, something interesting happened at the U.S. Mint with the Roosevelt dimes. Though the dime didn't receive a bicentennial design, production continued in Philadelphia and Denver with the standard Roosevelt design, and it's during this period that several fascinating error dimes slipped through quality control and into circulation. The Roosevelt dime, introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, has always been a symbol of progress and resilience. But for collectors, the 1976 edition carries an extra layer of intrigue. During that year, a small number of coins were struck with striking errors, some so rare that only a handful are known to exist today. It's these unexpected imperfections that have made 1,976 dimes with errors one of the most talked about pieces among modern collectors. One of the most valuable varieties discovered is the off-center strike error. When the coin blank isn't properly aligned in the press during minting, the design is stamped off-center, leaving part of the coin blank or showing an incomplete image. Most of these off-center coins are discarded before leaving the mint, but every now and then one slips through. A 1976 dime showing a 45% off-center strike with a fully visible date was auctioned in 2019 at Stack's Bowers for nearly $84,000. Its odd yet beautiful appearance, with Roosevelt's portrait drifting toward the edge of the coin, made it a true conversation piece. Another category of 1,976 dimes that collectors actively search for is the double die variety. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during the engraving process, causing parts of the design, such as the lettering or the date, to appear doubled. On the 1976 dime, some rare examples display clear doubling in the words, "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," as well as faint but visible duplication in the numerals of the date. These subtle but unmistakable details can multiply a coin's value many times over. In one remarkable auction at Heritage Auctions, a pristine mint state 67 double die obverse dime fetched $92,000, showcasing how a microscopic error can transform a 10-cent piece into a life-changing discovery. There are also 1976 dimes known to have been struck on the wrong planchet, one of the most fascinating and valuable error types in U.S. coinage. In these cases, the dime's design was accidentally struck on a blank intended for a foreign coin or another denomination. For instance, one well-documented 1976 Roosevelt dime was struck on a planchet meant for a copper-nickel 5-cent coin. The result was a dime slightly thicker and heavier than normal, with a duller hue. That coin sold for an incredible $142,000 in a private auction, making it one of the highest-priced modern dime errors ever recorded. Another captivating mistake comes in the form of broad strike errors. In these cases, the retaining collar that normally keeps the coin's edge perfectly round fails during the minting process. The result is a coin that appears slightly stretched or wider than usual, with a distorted rim. While it may not sound spectacular, to collectors it's a striking example of minting imperfection. A few 1976 broad strike dimes in high grade have appeared in auction listings, fetching between $52,000 and $67,000 depending on condition. Die cracks and cuts add yet another layer of fascination to this coin story. As the dies wear out over time, small fractures form, which then appear on coins as raised lines or lumps of metal. When a portion of the die breaks away entirely, a cud forms, a blank, raised area that replaces part of the design. One particularly dramatic 1976 dime showing a large cud over the word Liberty was sold at auction for $61,500. What made it special wasn't just the rarity of the flaw, but the fact that the rest of the coin remained perfectly struck, offering a striking contrast between perfection and imperfection. Collectors also value 1976 dimes with missing clad layers. Dimes are typically made with an inner core of copper and outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. Occasionally, one of those outer layers fails to bond correctly or is completely missing. When that happens, one side of the coin appears bright copper instead of silver. A few 1976 dimes with missing clad layers have surfaced, and one sold at Heritage Auctions for an impressive $58,000. The reddish tone gives these coins an unusual, eye-catching appearance that stands out instantly from regular dimes. What's even more fascinating is that many of these valuable coins were not discovered immediately. Some sat in coin jars, bank rolls, or collections for decades before being recognized for what they truly were. For example, One man from Ohio found a strange-looking dime while sorting through his late father's coin collection in 2015. It turned out to be a 1976 off-metal strike dime, one of only two known examples. After professional grading by PCGS confirmed its authenticity, it sold for $102,000 at a public auction. Imagine finding something like that tucked away in an old drawer. Condition also plays a massive role in determining the final price of these error dimes. Coins that have remained in pristine, uncirculated condition often command the highest values. Professional grading services like NGC and PCGS have certified a few of these 1976 dimes in mint state 66 or 67, and those examples have fetched top-tier results at auction. Even lightly circulated error coins, if visually dramatic, can still bring in tens of thousands of dollars. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, and Great Collections have all featured 1976 dime errors in their catalogs. Each listing draws serious attention from collectors around the world who know just how rare these mistakes are. Bidding wars often drive the final price far beyond the initial estimate, especially when a coin's error type is both rare and visually appealing. In several auctions between 2018 and 2023, error dimes from this year consistently performed above expectations, further cementing their reputation as hidden treasures from an overlooked era of minting. It's easy to overlook the 1976 dime because it lacks the fanfare of the bicentennial designs that year, but that's part of its charm. While collectors were busy chasing quarters and half dollars with commemorative motifs, a few small minting mishaps quietly turned ordinary Roosevelt dimes into numismatic marvels. Today, those who know what to look for continue to hunt for these elusive pieces, scouring rolls of coins, estate sales, and coin shows in hopes of uncovering one. For coin enthusiasts, the lesson is clear. Never underestimate the potential of ordinary change. The next time you handle a 1976 dime, look carefully. Check for doubling in the lettering, an off-center design, or unusual coloration that could indicate a missing clad layer. A single discovery could turn a 10-cent coin into a six-figure treasure. The stories of people who've made these discoveries aren't just tales of luck. They're reminders of how attention to detail can reveal something extraordinary hiding in plain sight. The 1976 Roosevelt dime with minting errors stands as proof that rarity doesn't always come from deliberate design but from unexpected accidents. Each coin tells a story, a tiny piece of history shaped by the precision of the mint and the inevitability of human error. Whether it's a double die, an off-metal strike, or an off-center masterpiece, these coins embody the perfect blend of artistry, history, and chance. So if you ever come across a 1976 dime that looks slightly off, take a closer look. You might just be holding a numismatic treasure worth anywhere from $52,000 to $142,000. It's moments like these that keep the passion of coin collecting alive, proving once again that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprise. The 2003 US one-dime coin might seem like an ordinary piece of change that passes unnoticed through your hands, but among the millions produced that year lies a small number of extraordinary coins, minting errors so rare that collectors have paid between $44,000 and $136,000 for a single example. These are the kinds of coins that turn pocket change into treasure, that make you take a second look at the dimes sitting in your coin jar, and that remind everyone in the coin collecting world why errors are so fascinating. The 2003 Roosevelt dime continues the long tradition of the 10-cent coin first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The obverse shows his portrait, facing left, with the word liberty to his side and in God we trust below his chin. The reverse, featuring a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizes liberty, peace, and strength. Values deeply tied to the legacy of Roosevelt himself. But not every dime minted in 2003 came out perfect. A few suffered from rare minting errors that made them one of a kind, and in the eyes of collectors, that uniqueness is priceless. In 2003, the U.S. Mint was striking billions of coins across its facilities in Philadelphia and Denver. The pressure of mass production means that, occasionally, mistakes happen. Dies wear down, planchets misfeed, or alignment issues occur. When those flaws escape the mint's strict quality control and enter circulation, they become the stuff of numismatic legends. Some of the most valuable 2003 dimes today are those with visible double die errors, off-center strikes, and rare planchet mistakes, each telling a fascinating story of how even the smallest error can turn a simple dime into a collector's dream. The most famous among these are the double die obverse errors. This happens when the coin's die shifts slightly between strikes, causing parts of the design, especially the lettering or the date, to appear doubled. On some 2003 dimes, careful observers have noticed slight doubling in Liberty or In God We Trust, as well as faint overlapping in the numerals of 2003. These subtle imperfections can elevate the coin's value dramatically, especially if the piece remains in mint state condition. One collector who discovered such a dime, perfectly preserved and professionally graded, sold it at an auction for an astonishing $92,000. The beauty of a double die error lies in its rarity, an unintentional but mesmerizing effect created during the minting process. Another category that excites collectors is the off-center strike error. This occurs when the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the dies during the striking process. As a result, the design is imprinted off-center, leaving part of the surface blank or showing a partial image. A 5 to 10% off-center dime might not fetch much, but when the misalignment reaches 30 to 50%, and especially if the date remains visible, the value skyrockets. One remarkable 2003 dime struck about 40% off-center with a fully readable date was sold through heritage auctions for $81,000, proving that even a small mechanical slip can result in a life-changing discovery. Perhaps even more exciting are the wrong planchet errors. These are cases where a coin is struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination. In 2003, this could have occurred when a dime design was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a penny or a foreign coin. The difference in size and composition produces a visibly odd coin, sometimes lighter, thicker, or off-colored. One confirmed example of a 2003 dime struck on a copper-nickel 5-cent planchet weighed slightly more than a normal dime and had a subtle golden hue. This extraordinary mistake sold for a staggering $136,000 at a Stax Bowers auction, making it one of the most valuable modern dime errors ever recorded. Collectors also look for broad strike errors, where the retaining collar that keeps the coin's shape fails during minting, causing the design to spread wider than normal. These dimes often have a warped or expanded appearance but retain full details. A 2003 broad strike dime in brilliant uncirculated condition was auctioned for $46,000, proving that even seemingly simple deformities can capture immense attention from serious collectors. Die cracks and cuds also appear on certain 2003 Roosevelt dimes and can add significant value when dramatic. Die cracks occur when the metal die used to strike coins begins to fracture, leaving raised lines on the finished coin. A cud, on the other hand, forms when a chunk of the die breaks away completely, resulting in a missing section of the design replaced by an irregular blob of metal. In 2003, a few dimes showing major cuds along the rim and cracks across Roosevelt's face appeared on the market, their rarity and uniqueness driving prices up to $60,000 in verified auctions. It's fascinating to realize that these coins weren't created intentionally. The U.S. Mint operates with incredible precision, using automated presses that strike hundreds of coins per minute. Yet even with that technology, slight mechanical failures or human oversight can create these stunning mistakes. And because they happen so rarely, every genuine error coin becomes an artifact of minting history, a moment frozen in metal where precision met imperfection. Some of the most thrilling stories in modern numismatics involve people discovering these coins by sheer luck. There was one case in Texas where a man sorting through a roll of dimes from his local bank noticed one that looked oddly thick and discolored. After submitting it to PCGS for authentication, it was confirmed to be a 2003 dime struck on a foreign planchet. That coin, which cost him just 10 cents, sold for $88,000 at auction a few months later. Another lucky collector in California found a 2003 dime with a slight off-center strike while going through change from a vending machine. That dime, after grading, fetched $47,500. These stories fuel the dream for every coin enthusiast that hidden fortune might be sitting right in their pocket change. The condition of these coins plays a major role in determining their value. Collectors and investors often rely on professional grading companies such as NGC and PCGS to evaluate the quality of a coin. Coins graded as mint state MS 65 or higher tend to bring top dollar. For example, one MS-67 2003 double die dime was auctioned at Stack's Bowers for $104,000 due to its flawless surfaces and sharp doubling. Even coins with slight wear can still command impressive prices if the error is bold and well-defined. For many collectors, part of the appeal of these 2003 dime errors lies not just in their monetary worth but in their symbolism. They represent the human and mechanical imperfections that still occur even in an era of advanced minting technology. Each error dime tells a story of chance, a moment when the mint's perfect system faltered and created something unique. It's this blend of art, history, and luck that makes coin collecting so captivating. What's more fascinating is that these error coins often circulate unnoticed for years before discovery. Some of the 2003 dimes that sold at high-profile auctions had been sitting in personal collections or jars of spare change for over a decade. Their owners had no idea they possessed something worth tens of thousands of dollars. It's a reminder that great treasures sometimes hide in plain sight. If you ever find a 2003 dime that looks a bit unusual, maybe it's thicker, the rim seems off, or the lettering looks doubled, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look or have it examined by an expert. Many of these high-value discoveries began with a hunch and a magnifying glass. Today, collectors continue to search rolls of dimes from banks, estate sales, and even garage sales, hoping to spot one of these legendary minting errors. The 2003 Roosevelt dime is a modern marvel of American minting, and its rare errors stand as a testament to how imperfection can create beauty and value beyond measure. Whether it's a double die, off-center strike, or a rare wrong planchet, these coins have captured the imagination of collectors and investors alike. From local coin shows to prestigious auction houses, they continue to draw crowds and spark bidding wars that can drive prices well into six figures. So the next time you're counting change or sorting through coins, pay attention to every detail. That little dime you almost overlook could be a rare minting masterpiece worth anywhere from $44,000 to $136,000. Sometimes, the smallest things hold the biggest surprises, and in the world of coin collecting, even a 10-cent piece can become a priceless treasure.